Hey everybody, long time no see. It's Jesty back with another YouTube video. It's been a while. I've been busy with a lot of real life stuff and some not real life stuff, but I've just been in general busy and unable to record. And that and scheduling with other people hasn't worked out. It's a sign of the holidays, but it's not a sign of the end times. I'm sure we'll pick back up in January and be a little more consistent, at least for a while. But getting into the video I'm making today, we're going to talk about the Battle of Tukkayid event, Tukkayid in the new year, that Brad is going to be running. Unfortunately, Nitro Burst's Operation Dragon Slayer has been postponed. There's still some tweaking and stuff he wants to work out, but this is going to take its place, and I think Brad's done a fantastic job stepping up at the last minute and throwing this together. There's a bunch of lore. Everybody knows the Battle of Tukkayid. It's arguably one of the biggest events in Battletech history. I'm going to gloss over this and get to the juicy bits that are important to me right now with what I want to do, and that's list building, baby. I'm going to try building a list for this right now for YouTube, and go that way you can see my thought processes, see me flipping back and forth through the MUL and Megamech, checking stats, looking at weapons, stuff like that. If that's boring to you, by all means, skip this one. If you're interested in seeing how people build lists, or at least seeing how I build a list, by all means, stay tuned, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So it's due on December 23rd. It is currently the 8th. I've got a bit of time, but I'm going to try and knock this out right now. It's Clan Invasion 3052 hard cap for the year, which means we can't use anything that was made in 3053, even though it's technically Clan Invasion era. The cap is at the year 3052, period. End of discussion. MUL limit any Clan Invasion era faction within the 3052 limit for equipment. So that means if I'm going to be playing the clan side, I can play any clan. If I'm going to be playing the Inner Sphere side, I can play any Inner Sphere faction. And I'm sure that if I really wanted to, I could play a clan list for the Inner Sphere faction. Possibly, maybe, we'll see. But as a filthy clanner myself, I'm going to be playing a clan list for the Clan Invasion side. More than likely Clan Ghost Bear, because they're the ones I dislike the least of the available clans that partook in Tukkayid. I actually kind of like Ghost Bear. We're looking at a 10,000 BV hard cap. The intro level is, or the tech level is from intro to experimental, 3 to 6 units. This is all very standard MRC stuff. Within one skill roll, so 4 5s, 3 4s, and 2 3s. No 3 1s or 4 1s or whatever. And we have a commander. Wait, let's see. The unit has a command console. It will have a commander in addition to the pilot in this scenario. The commander must be 4/5. Okay. Twins but different. We can pick 2 of a chassis, but they must be different variants. 2 Black Knights, BL6 KNT, and the BL9 KNT, not 2 BL6 KNTs. Don't think I didn't notice what you did there, Brad. 6, 9. Nice. R&R, repair and rearm. You're allowed to change ammo in between turns. You cannot enter the match with less than your full ammo capacity. That's all standard MRC stuff. Commander do you read? Oh, we need to designate a force commander. The force commander must not be the lowest battle value in your roster. Instead, it must be the lowest or tied for lowest combination of pilot skills. Okay, so this has to be your ace unit. So he has to be better than everybody else, or at the very least tied. So we could make a full force of 3 4s or 4 5s. And they also can't be the lowest battle value. So if everybody was 3/4, we would just pick a non-lowest battle value unit to be the commander. Alright, and of course, the caveat, the TO reserves the right to change anything they see fit throughout the tournament. Here we go. Allowed units and equipment, battle mechs, omni-mechs, infantry, battle armor, ground vehicles. Huh, no VTOLs from the looks of it. All units in a player's force must also be from their chosen faction for the event, using the master unit list, blah blah blah. Yeah, this is all standard. Artillery is only allowed via battlefield support points. Ooh, what is this? Not in the army roster. Oh, interesting. Usually don't see BSPs in Megamech. I wonder how this is going to work. Banned units and equipment. Uniques. Damn, there goes my Sun Bear. Solaris 7. Damn, there goes Fun. Extinct. Yeah, that's normal. Unofficial or customs. Also normal. And there's VTOLs on the banned units list. As well as Protomechs, which I'm not sure if they exist yet in the clan invasion. But still, just in case, they're banned regardless. Ammunition types, no smoke missiles, no semi-guided, no tandem charge, no swarm eye, no dead fire, listen kill, and of course all thunder ammunition. This is all very standard for a tournament. Autocannons, no precision ammo. Ooh, okay, it's gonna hurt some of those inner sphere units. I guess precision ammo didn't exist in 3052, possibly? Maybe. That'll have to be something we look up later. Artillery. Any artillery ammunition that is not basic or homing ammo. Oh. Alright. That's interesting. Okay, and here we get into the cheese limitations. I like these. These are constraints on our build, so everybody just doesn't run around with 5 Dasher H's, or, well, we can, because of the same but different rule, but this way we don't all run around with Pulse TCOM boats and have -3 in all of our shots, which is very boring. Or +7 jumpers, which is the first point in this. -30 points for each unit with jump 7 beyond the first, which means we get 1. And after 1, you start taking penalties. That's going to hurt. Force pulse laser limits, here we are. Force with 3 to 34 pulse damage, no penalty. 35 to 39 pulse damage. -30 to the team score. So this isn't your total. This is for your team's total. Gotcha. But that's still bad. You don't want to give your team minus points. You want your team to win, which is why you're playing for them. But that does mean that specifically, it's the entire force can have up to 34 pulse damage with no penalty. So if you have a large pulse laser here or a medium pulse laser there, you have to tally them up across your whole force, which is not bad. I like that. That way you can run something like Ice Ferret D, or I think it's the D that's got those 4 medium pulse lasers, and still be fair game. And that's it. That's basically most of your pulse damage allotment right there. But you get your 1 pulse vote pretty much, maybe 2. But no TCOMs. Okay, I mean you can, but you get a 30-point penalty per unit with pulse plus TCOM. That's a standard. Yeah, like I said, -3 to your shots is a bit ridiculous. Even though you're paying battle value for it, it's still very, very good and becomes old very quickly. Pulse laser damage limitations are set this way to allow a few units with clan pulse lasers and IS pulse lasers a bit more quantity to be included in the event while still constraining them. Perfect. These cheese rules hold hands with twins but different, and within one pilot skill rule in an effort to discourage any kind of perceived abuse and balance them out in the confines of the event. Alright, we'll get to the format submission later. That's not important for now. One thing to note, I will more than likely be using Ghost Bear just because they get access to the Stooping Hawk, which is one of my favorite units. Speaking of which, we have our parameters here. 10,000 BB hard cap, no more than 34 pulse damage, 3 to 6 units, skills within 1. I mean, that's pretty much all we need to know. Planning on doing mechs and battle armor. I don't think I'll be running any vehicles. We obviously can't run vehicles because they're banned. So let's go ahead and pull up the MUL that I was already glancing at earlier to get the Stooping Hawk going. So I will be running a Stooping Hawk Prime because I want to. It is a unit I like, and there's nothing wrong with using what we like. I've already got Megamech pulled up. I'm going to add the Stooping Hawk to the list because I know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and type out Stooping Hawk, or Stooping, and it'll pull up just the Stooping Hawk and all of its variants. And Megamech will even tell me the year if I open this up, so we can see there are some variants of the Stooping Hawk that are not fair game, but the one I want to use is the Prime, and it is fair game because it was introduced in 2970. So far so good. It's 2834 battle value at 3-4. Whew, that's basically almost a third of my list right there in this one unit. Ouch. As a clan player, I'm probably going to end up with maybe 4 mechs. That's a big question mark in that maybe. And 2 sets of battle armor. That's what I'm assuming I'll end up with. Maybe it'll be 3 and 3. We'll find out as we're building through this. But just a quick look at some of these. You know what? Before we start building, I'm already going to use the Stooping Hawk because I like it. Let's take a look at some of these maps and some of these objectives, because that's going to determine how we build our list. We have to be able to get a shot at winning these objectives in order to have a chance. You know, you don't want to bring 3 assault mechs and then have to get to the other side of the map as the objective. You know, you're probably not going to win that one, even though you're in clan assaults. So let's see, first battle, 32 by 17. What are the objectives? 1 point for defeating 75% of the enemy force. Okay, so this is pretty much blow each other up. 1 point for defeating the enemy commander. Yep, sounds about right. Nothing too special there, just funky deployment. So you're gonna, as a clan player, you're going to deploy scattered. As an inner sphere player, you can deploy pretty much anywhere. And as a clan player, you get to deploy after you see where the inner sphere player deploys. And if they're smart, they're likely going to deploy clustered, so that way they can watch each other's backs and don't get picked off. And the clan player is going to be scattered, so they're likely going to regroup and try to set up a firing line, or just come at them from all angles, depending on what the map looks like. And there is a specific map. It is the Racine River Delta found in the Battle of Tukkayid map pack. So we'll take a quick gander at this because we got Megamech pulled up. Where is it? It's the Racine River Delta view game board. Ooh, okay. That's a little bit of water, a little bit of hills, a little bit of forests. You have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away from the board edge and 6 away from each other, which means the clan player is going to be deploying in basically a rectangle like this and throughout the middle, which means the inner sphere player can either stack up in the middle and get ganked at from all sides, or stack up on one of these corners with elevation and vegetation cover. More than likely, the inner sphere players will sit up here, possibly here, that way they have a little more wiggle room, and just set up a gun line and make you, as the clan player, come to them. That's my guess, but that means we need decent mobility, because there's water, there's forest, there's hills. The Stooping Hawk already has a jump of 5. Let's take a look at it. I do like this mech, and I know the stats of it, but I don't think you might. So it's a 585, 55 tonner. It's pretty standard. That's average speed for a 55 tonner. It's got standard gyro. It's got a 275 standard engine, not an XL engine. It's got double heat sinks. You've got an ER medium and a medium pulse in each arm, so something pesky gets in the rear arc like a spider, you can torso twist and blast it with a medium pulse and an ER medium. It's also got a UAC 10 in the right torso. So this is kind of like the Sun Bear that I love so much. It's very similar. The only difference is the standard engine and the jump jets in exchange for the AC-20, which I think is a fair trade. We're at 172 out of 185. We're not slow. We can generate a decent movement modifier with the 5 jump and break even with our +3 and +3 for jumping for 5. So it's a solid unit, and considering the terrain of that first map, I think it's a good choice. So we're gonna keep it and possibly leave it at 3-4. Now let's take a look at the next mission down. Teddy Bear's Picnic. Okay, what do we got here? Church. There's Tukkayid Ghost Halth Forest, depicting the forest fire option. Oh, alright, let's take a look. What does this look like? Select map. Oh, review game board. Oh my, that is a lot of forest. Okay. Yeah, there's a few running lanes here and there. Like there's one running lane up here in the north if you're going to do something like a dasher or something like a Ryukin, which is also a very common clan mech. But to the south, it's nothing but forest almost the whole way down. There's a little bit of a route here throughout the middle, a little bit of a route here in the south. It's really tight. You're confined to this area and there's no cover for most of this route here. As a clan player, you will be deploying on the west side, and as an Inner Sphere player, you will be deploying on the east side. And the mission objective, if I'm not mistaken, let's take a look back at it, because I read through this earlier, is attacker must exit half their force off the defender's edge. Okay, so here's that mission I talked about earlier, where you have to move from your side of the map all the way across the map to the enemy side. So that means likely any clan assault is going to be out of the question. I mean, it was very likely that any clan assault was going to be out of the question just based on the battle value alone, but now I'm thinking anything other than a gargoyle prime is not going to be viable here. Because A, we need speed to get from one side of the map to the other. For this objective, the previous map we looked at, we need speed to group together after deploying scattered. That way we can, attack the Inner Sphere player in a united front and give them a target-rich environment instead of coming at them one at a time. And let's take a look at the next mission, because I think these maps are going to just eliminate any sort of slow walking mech crossing the streams. Ooh, I don't like the sound of that. This battle, Robin's Crossing, CJ. Hang on. So first mission, second mission. Yeah, here we go. Third mission, week 3. Robin's Crossing, Battle of Tukkayid. Objective, difference, blah, blah. Okay, unlike other missions, Objective A, hard map. Inner Sphere wins the objective. As long as no enemy player controlled ground units, not BSPs, are on the north part of the map across the river when the game ends. What? Objective B, the clan side wins the objective if more than half their total player-controlled unit count, not BSPs, are across the river when the game ends. Okay, so how big is this river? Good lord. Okay, so what is this Objective A? Okay, players choose a bridge that can be destroyed. Harder Church/Tukkayid map. Then they play Objective A, which is no enemy-controlled units on the north part of the map crossing the river. If players choose the bridge that can't be destroyed, aka Robin's Crossing map, then they play for Objective B to determine who chooses the map. Oh, so it's a roll-off to pick which map we use. I see. Or you can agree to use one or the other. Gotcha. And then if we take the easy map where the bridge cannot be destroyed, quote-unquote, the clan side wins if more than half their total player-controlled units are across the river. Okay. What does this river look like? Is it? This is the map. Oh, that is a fat river. Good lord. Okay, what do we have here? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hexes across? Good lord. Okay, hang on, time out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, ooh, man, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Oh, alright, okay. I think just because of this map alone, and this river is so huge, I'm assuming these are all depth 1 or 2. X level 0, water depth 2. X level 0, water depth 1. X level 0, water depth 0. Okay, so there's a few little shoals. Level 0, water depth 1. 0, water depth 1. Maybe that's the only one. 0, water depth 1. Level 0, water depth 3. Level 0, water depth 1. Okay, so there's this little itty bitty shoal right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, that means you need to have a jump of at least 5. Wait a minute, this is height level 1. This is depth 2, which means you can't walk up here either. Okay, height 1, depth 2, height 1, depth 2, depth 1, height 1. So maybe you can walk up here, here to here, you can get onto this hex. This is depth 2, depth 2, depth 2. Of course, there's the bridge here, but this bridge is destructible in the hard map, 150 CF, which bridges don't dodge, so any shots on the bridge are going to be at a -4 to hit. And player is likely going to get 1, maybe 2 turns to get across this bridge. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 hexes long. So that's going to be rough. And this is depth 1, height 1, so you can walk out from this hex onto any of these adjacent grass hexes and this hex. This is depth 1, level 2, so you can't walk up here. Depth 1, level 3, definitely can't walk up there. Depth 1, level 3, okay, no, that's not going to happen. These are all level 4 or 3. There's literally a couple spots you can get across this river that are not the bridge if you have some sort of jump jets, even if you're just walking. I mean, this is depth 2 water, so just walking across, you're covered. But if you're gonna, take a walk like they say in the Pirates of the Caribbean, you're gonna have to make it all the way across, making piling checks to change elevation and all that in water. Step up to one of these 2 hexes, or 3. I think you can get up from here too. Depth 1 to level 1 should be a 2 change. So you have literally 4 different hexes that you can walk up from on the water, or you take something like a Viper that can jump for 8 and just go from here to here. And this is literally, you have to be in this hex and jump to this hex. You have no other choice. Or from here to here and jump and make it in one jump. Or since there's a little bitty island right here, you can jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then jump for another 4 or 5 to get across completely. So your avenues of assault are very, very limited. And the problem I see is that if you put like a bigger mech, like a Mad Cat or something, in the depth 2 water and just slowly trudge them across the river floor and then walk up, there's going to be 2 or 3 turns where your big heavy mech is out of the fight, unable to be shot at and damaged. And or if your inner sphere players are ballsy, they can get in the water and shoot at you while you're in the water, because water breaches on any torso that's got an engine in it will flood the torso and give you engine hits. Or the cockpit to kill the pilot, or the leg to just destroy the leg, and make you fall, and then you're stuck in water. And yeah, it's not good. So it's very dangerous, but it's doable. The other caveat is that while you're walking across this water, any units that you're planning on jumping across are fair game. They're the only targets, and since the jump from here to here is only 4, they're only gonna get a +2, and another. You could jump further, of course, from here. And you only get 1 jump 7+ unit, so I'm assuming any clan player is going to take the Viper. The play may be to hide the Viper back here for like 5 or 6 turns until the game's going to wind down. Pop it up, run it from here to here, get it in position to jump, and then jump across. If your inner sphere opponent is wise to what you're doing, they'll have a mech here and force you to DFA them in order to make it across. So I'm thinking maybe we bring ourselves a 3-2 Viper, because just for this map alone, you're going to need something that can jump very quick, or I should say very far. And a Viper, is also known as a Dragonfly, is a very good unit. Prime is solid. It's got 2 medium pulses, which is going to eat into our pulse allotment. So I'm going to think of falling back to the Viper C, which is the cheapest Viper. Let's take a look at it. know Ghost Bear has access to this, which is why we're looking at it. I just looked at the MUL. So here's the C, 8-12-8. There's our 8 jump to make it across the river. I mean, it's fast in general. This could be used to deliver elementals too. It's got 2 ER medium lasers, 2 flamers, 4 machine guns, and a third flamer. So, a ton of machine gun ammo, so you're never going to run out. Oh, hello, little kitten. He's waking up. Quirks aren't in use, so that doesn't matter. And here's the prime. So, it's got 2 medium pulses, an SRM-4, 2 machine guns, and an AMS. Now, the problem I have with this is that I'm mainly going to be using it to backstab and stuff, so I don't really know if I want to use 2 of my pulse lasers, and if I'm going to be hiding it throughout the match. Using up 2 pulse lasers worth of damage, which is 14 of the 34 we're allowed to take without a penalty, I think that's not efficient. So I'm going to throw in a Viper, and at 3-4, the Viper is just under 2k battle value. Let's configure it down to a 3-2 and see what we look like here. So just over 2,000. That's not terrible. And we're at half our battle value, and we're at 2 mechs. So one of them's a 55 tonner that can jump for 5. So he's not the worst mech at getting across the river, but he's not the best. Especially at 3-4, I'm going to be having to make pilot checks. You know what, let's take a look at that last mission. I'm definitely bringing the Viper because of week 3. Let's take a look at week 4. Week 4 is a stand-up fight on Ozoritsu Mountain map. Let's take a look at this Ozoritsu Mountain. Okay, and it says any of the variants because they're all pretty much identical. Let's take a look at the snow one. View game board. What do we got here? No, I don't want to view that game board. That's what we just looked at. Let's look at this one. Alright, so we've got hills on both sides, sparse forest, scattered on both sides, a little bit in the middle, and it's a stand-up fight with a pit in the middle. So this middle section is no man's land. You do not want to be here because you're going to have 0 cover, or maybe like 1 forest with the cover if you're in it or adjacent to it, and that's it. I mean, there's an argument to be made here, and I'm assuming, let's double check, but deployment sides are random. I don't think clan player chooses the opposite. Yeah, so Inner Sphere chooses the side, clan gets the opposite side. More than likely, Inner Sphere is probably going to choose the side with the better sniping position, which could be either this one. Is there any forest covered by hill? This one, they're about equal. I don't see any prime sniping spots on either side, so it's going to come down to player choice. I mean, there's a decent one here, there's some elevation here, there's this here, there's this here, but it's not behind level 1 cover, it's just forest cover. So it could go either way. The sides are pretty similar for the most part, so I'm not too concerned about the map on this one. This is just straight up fight. Okay, so there's 2 maps that are going to require a decent amount of mobility. One of them you need to get across the map, one of them you need to get across the river. So the Dragonfly is a shoe-in for that river crossing map for sure. Hey everybody, Jesty from the future here. One thing I wanted to note is that the map we were looking at was the hard version for the Delta River crossing here. This is the easier version of the map. This is the one where you have to get 50% of your forces across, and there is significantly more room to get across, especially with anything that can jump a little bit. There's depth 2 pretty much across the entire river. There's a couple of depth 0 hexes, like right here. And then there's also this little level 1 hill and all of this level 0 rubble. So you do have more avenues of attack. You can spawn, usually placement is within 3 hexes of the board edge. So you can put a mech here and then jump right across right away. So it's not as doom and gloom as I originally thought. You don't necessarily need all that mobility and all that jump, because you could just trudge your way across this and eventually you'll have a big heavy assault on your opponent's side of the map. So this does open up other possibilities for list building. And even if you do decide to take a walk across the depth 2 water, there's multiple spots that you can get up, far more. Pretty much not these over here that are next to the level 3, but all of these next to the level 2 right here, these are all fair game. This is fair game. These are all fair game to get up from. Well, this one, this one, this one, this one. You get what I'm saying. So, with that being said, I'm going to finish out building this list and my thought process is, and then at the end, I'm going to throw in 2 more lists, another clan list, and I think I made an inner sphere list just for funsies that I think would be pretty viable for this. Knowing what I know now. Mobility is still very important on 2 different missions. And speaking of which, the other mission, which I was concerned about having to be very, very fast for, if I could find that on the map, isn't really it is the Ghost Bear. What is it called? This bath? Nope, that's not it. There we go. Here it is. Okay, so this one, the mission objective is to get your mechs off, if you're the clan player, that is to get your mechs from your side of the board off the enemy's edge. But there is a concession to be made where if you just annihilate your opponent, it's considered mission accomplished and you get the objective points for doing so as the clan player. So that means you can just kill your inner sphere opponent and not have to worry about running off the map, which means a big old list of chonky boy assaults is actually viable for the tournament as a whole. And one of the lists that I made, we'll get into that, and we'll talk about that later. Steve from the future, out! Especially if we play on the hard mode, where the bridge can be destroyed. The Dragonfly is our ace in the hole, so he's in, I think, no matter what. Stooping Hawk Prime still seems viable. I'm going to keep him. Let's take a look at the list. We're definitely going to be bringing some elementals. I do want something a bit heavier that can reach out and touch something. Gargoyle Prime. I mean, it's big, it's heavy, it can catch bullets, but the Gargoyle Prime isn't really that dangerous. There's other gargoyles like the Gargoyle D, which I know has pulse lasers and targeting computer, so we're not touching that one. CBA. The only reason I'm considering the Gargoyle is because it's quick, and we need to be able to get across the map. Ooh, an Ice Ferret. Yeah, these are all under 3052 because I got this in year order. So an Ice Ferret would do it for us because they're very quick and dangerous, but I'm not convinced. You know what? Let's take a look at these gargoyle. Look at the gargoyles. Possibly the Prime, maybe the B. The Prime is a steal. It's a staple. It's 2 SRM6s, 2 LB5Xs, and an ER small laser. So your damage potential isn't very high. You're decent at crit seeking. There's no VTOLs at all, so the LBX loses a little bit of value there, I would say. But because vehicles are still a thing, I don't know if we're using the advanced crits for vehicles or not. It's a 5.8, so we can keep up with the Stooping Hawk. Can't keep up with the Dragonfly. Maybe if the Dragonfly jumps, it can. But it's still very quick, and it's 211 armor out of 247. Not terrible. And it's very dangerous in close range. Once you get into melee at 80 tons, it can kick some legs off of mediums, inner sphere mediums, and it's just as fast as they are. Maybe. We'll put it in the maybe pile. Let's take a look at the B. What do we have on the B? LRM-10, SRM-4, and a Gauss rifle. We have 12 shots with the LRM-10. We have a total of 16 for the Gauss. We have Artemis, of course, for the LRM-10. So, I mean, this can reach out and touch something. It's got enough sinks to fire everything, of course. It's still the same speed. It's like 200 battle value more, actually almost 300 more. So I don't know if the Gauss rifle, which is a nice weapon to have in the LRM 10, are worth it. We'll put a pin in it. We'll add the Prime just because it's dirt cheap, and we'll see if we can't find a replacement for it. At 3.4, it comes in at the same price as our 3.2 Dragonfly, the exact same battle value. That is convenient. So at least we have something to compare it to later on. We're at almost 7,000 battle value. I'd like to squeeze one more mech in here, and of course we need speed. So let's take a look at what we got that is speedy, shall we? This isn't in order of tonnage or anything, they're in order of introduction year. So let's scroll down to the bottom, get to 3052, and then work our way up. Okay, here's 3052, we have a Kodiak 5, no. Executioner, no. These are all very heavy. Vulture, maybe. Ryukin Stormcrow, TC, maybe. Let's take a look at the Ryukin. Ryukins are very solid. Okay, that only gets rid of most of them. We'll go year 2930 up to 3052. So we only have the Prime, A, B, C, D, and the TC, which is the Tukkayid configuration, which would be fairly appropriate. What does we have? The TC I know is solid. It's got a Gauss rifle and 1, 2, 3, 4 ER medium lasers and a targeting computer. Ooh, oh my. I like it. 6'9", 330, 182 out of 185, almost maxed armor. And it's got enough ammo for that Gauss rifle to fire it every turn. Yeah, why not? We'll throw it in there. Oh, buddy. Whoa, 3-4 puts us at 3,132 battle value. And that's going to push us over our battle value limit. Let's see what dropping us to a 4-4 does. Because it does have that targeting computer, so we don't really need the 3 piloting, or I should say 3 gunnery, because the target computer takes care of that for us. I don't think we need 3-4 on the Man-O-War. Maybe we can go something like 4-3, because piloting skills are going to be very valuable if we're trudging across a river. And now, let's take a look at our battle armor options. What do we have that's available in the year 3052? We'll scroll up and go to infantry. Here we are. We'll do intro like we did before and scroll down the list. Let's go down and start with the more advanced stuff and then work our way back up. Okay, so 3050, we have the elemental battle armor headhunters. Let's take a look at those. We're likely going to take one stand of elementals regardless. The flamers are a good standby, especially against vehicles. They're very efficient. Elemental headhunter 3050 intro year. This is the one. 113. It's got machine gun, auto rifle. What do we have that's special here? I'm not seeing anything fantastic sticking out at me. Yeah, it doesn't have like a David Gauss rifle or anything, which I don't think exists yet. It's got anti-personnel mount, remote sensor dispenser. Yeah, so I think we're gonna pass on the headhunters. What's next? Clan Jump Heavy, Clan Assault Infantry, Clan Space Marine, Clan Heavy. We definitely want elementals. Here we go. Space MG, Space Flamer. Have regular flamer? Yes, we do. There we go. Elemental flamer. Those are more than likely what we're going to take. Yeah, we'll throw some flamer elementals in there just because they're solid. And a classic standby for any clan player. What else do we have? Do we have any salamanders? Oh, hey, yes we do. But, oof, 3058. Ouch, that hurts. So no salamanders, no gnomes. I think it might just be elementals, which is a little unfortunate. And we have to do same but different So we may have to take some laser or machine gun elementals to make up for it if we don't see any other elemental or battle armor, which doesn't look like we do. Yep, doesn't look like it. Just all kinds of other infantry, which I'd rather not bring. And one thing to note, elementals die as soon as they hit water. So if you're going to be carrying them, you want it on something that's not going to be submerged, which is more than likely the Dragonfly and possibly the Stupid Hawk if we're going to be doing that river crossing mission. Don't know if they die if they're submerged while they're attached to a mech. I'm assuming they don't, but we'll have to science that later. I think we're going to have to go with laser elementals, just so we can meet our same but different requirement. It's a small laser in the right arm versus machine gun elementals for a difference of about 33 battle value. I think we'll take the laser. Why not? They don't track heat. It's not going to hurt anything. Oof, and we go over battle value by a good bit. Alright, so even dropping skills by quite a bit, we're over by a lot. Alright, I think because a lot of the objectives are combat oriented and the mana war is not bringing all that much, I think we're going to have to shelf them and find something that's cheaper. So we're going to have to go smaller, unfortunately. So let's go back up, back to battle mechs, or I mean, I think looking at my list now, I think I'm going to have the Stooping Hawk and the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly for sure is going to be carrying some elementals. Since the Dragonfly already has flamers, I like to put the flamer elementals on the Dragonfly. That way we can double up heat onto some of these inner sphere mechs. But some of them may not even have double heat sinks in 3052. So that'll be a good combo there. And then probably the Stooping Hawk, because it can jump. It's a little more mobile than the Ryukin. The Ryukin is 6'9", which is slightly faster on open ground. But as we've looked at some of these maps, there's not a lot of open ground to be had. So jumping seems to be more efficient for movement purposes. So I'm thinking unless we get something that's also going to jump, like at least a 6 or a 5, more than likely these laser elementals are going to be on that Stupid Hawk. So let's take a look. I kind of think we've got a good bit of brawl potential. So we've got one Gauss rifle and a bunch of ER mediums. So he's going to be, he doesn't have to close the distance. Whoops, wrong button. He doesn't have to close the distance per se. So the Ryukin can sit back and poke at things. The Dragonfly has to get up close and personal to do, I mean, it's got 2 ER mediums, but it's got 3 flamers and 4 machine guns to do most of its crit-seeking capabilities. We need to get up close, and we also need to get up close and deliver those flamer elementals. The Stooping Hawk has ER mediums and medium pulses, so we're going to want to get kind of close. It's got an UAC 10, so we don't have to. We can stay at standoff distance for quite a while using those ER mediums and the AC 10 to its fullest. How many tons of ammo? Oh, we got plenty of ammo. We can double tap this thing every turn. I'm glad I double checked that. That's nice. Alright. And of course, we can close the gap and make these elementals earn their battle value for us. With this, we're at 8,495, just with what we have after dropping the gunnery on the Ryukin to 4-4. So, let's... Oh, that's right. So, if I make the Dragonfly 3-2, it has to be my commander. It also can't be the cheapest, which it won't because there's elementals here, but it's going to be the lowest skilled pilot, which is dangerous because the Dragonfly is not very heavily armored at 134 armor, so it can go splat real quick from something like a Hunchback or an Archer that just unloads on it. So we'll have to rethink this. I don't think 3-2, as much as I would like to, on the Dragonfly is the play for now. Maybe. We'll see. Let's take a look at the MUL. Let's take a look at combat vehicles, switch the intro. We'll start at the most advanced and work our way up. 3058, 3036, Axle Heavy Tank. I think we need some fire support. And clan vehicles, or vehicles in general, tend to carry more weapon per ton than most battle mechs do. The only problem is that they're fairly slow and fairly susceptible to just being picked apart at long range. Ishtar Heavy Fire Support Tank and the Athena Combat Vehicle. Familiar with these. I don't remember what they do off the top of my head, but the Ishtar 1404, it'll be a 4-5, but it'll probably be under our battle value that we need. So let's take a look at the Ishtar, shall we? So here it is. I think it was, which one was it? Ishtar didn't specify. So intro year was 2976. So it's this one, the standard. It's 3.5, like I said, not very fast. 2 ER mediums, an LRM 15, an LB 10, and a UAC 10. Oh, so decent ranges. Not really what I would consider fire support, like an LRM carrier. Speaking of which, I don't know if there's an LRM carrier here. There's a Hatchman fire support tank, which is also in the 1400 bracket. What else have we got? These are all going to be fairly useless. Yeah, so all those are pretty much non-combat vehicles. So we're going to skip all those. Long Tom is not fair game. Chaparral Missile Artillery Tank I don't think is fair game. Well, this one with SRMs might be. But I want something with LRMs or Gauss rifles or something like that. Like an Alicorn or, like I mentioned, a LRM carrier. That would be ideal for what we're looking for. Hatchiman Fire Support Tank. Let's take a look at the Hatchiman. I know it's fairly decent. And it's got fire support in the name. So it's got to have LRMs on it, right? Hatchiman, here we go. It's got 2 LRM-20s and 2 ER Meaty Blazers in a turret. That's not bad, actually. Artemis 4 for those LRM-20s. How many rounds do we have? 12 and 12. So we have 12 turns of fire with these LRM-20s. And we have a maximum of 15 turns, which means if the Hatchiman survives, a game goes the distance, we'll be out of ammo and for firing both tubes of LRM-20s every turn by turn 13. And we'll have 2 ER medium lasers and a Streak 4 front-mounted as backup. It's not terrible. It's a bit expensive for what you get. So let's take a look at it at 4.5, not at 5.6. It's not optimal. At 4.5, it's 1484. Will be just under BV cap. Let's see if there's anything better. Maybe we don't go one of these. Okay, Coco Defense Tank. Mithras Light Tank, Oro Heavy Tank, or Odin Scout Tank. Huitzla Pochli Assault Tank Huey. What does that got on it? It's 1100, so it's a little bit cheaper. Give us a little more wiggle room. And it's also got a cool name. It's hard to pronounce for most people, I'm pretty sure. UAC 5, Arrow 4. Oof. Nope, out of the running. No artillery. Sorry, buddy, you got a cool name and cool weapons. They're just not legal for this tournament. Thor Artillery Vehicle. It's got artillery in the name. I'm not even going to look at it. Mars Assault. Kestrel, which is a VTOL, is out of the question. Not legal. It's a World Assault. No, that's too expensive. Onas I know are good, but they're hovercraft, which isn't really what I'm looking for. Demolish Demolisher, and we're out of our year range. Axle Heavy Tank Mark 1 and Mark 2. Let's take a look at these. What do they got? You never know. This is why we dive into the MUL. Axle Heavy Tank Mark 1. We've got 2 machine guns, an LRM-10, and an AC-20. Not terrible. Only 931 battle value. 3.5, so it's not getting anywhere in a hurry. And here we go. AC-20, LRM-10, 2 machine guns, and a vehicle flame. Rear mounted. Okay, not terrible, not spectacular. Whoops, didn't click on that. Bike support vehicle. Sniper. What does this got on it? Let's take a look. I think it's the standard. It's got 1, 2, 3 AC-2s and 2 SRM-2s. No wonder it is dirt cheap. Okay, we will not be dealing with that. Oh, it's also out of a year viability, so that was a waste of time. Alright, I think we may pass on vehicles. Coco Defense Tank. One more. We'll look one more. Let's see if it's got what we're looking for. Coco Defense Tank Standard. 1, 2, 3 large pulse lasers. Yeah, that's too many pulse lasers. That's going to push us over the boundary for sure, because that's 30 points of pulse laser damage. Coco Defense Tank XL. What does the XL version have? Got also 3 large pulse lasers and an LRM-10. The standard has 3 large pulse lasers and an LRM-10. What do you get for the XL then? 2, 3 tracked, 3, 5. Okay, that's where it is. You get an extra bit of movement for that XL. 172, 163, and a slightly more armor. Either way, we're not going to go for that because that's too many pulse lasers. Unfortunately, Coup Wheeled Assault Tank. Wheeled? It's going to be bad for motive crits. Von Luckner Heavy Tank Royal. Fury Command Tank Royal. Demon Tank Royal. You know, let's take a look at these. See what they've got to offer us. I mean, we do need to be fairly mobile, so I don't want anything too slow. Tank Royal 5.8 wheeled. 1, 2, 3 Streak SRM-2s, 2 medium pulse lasers, and a Gauss Rider. For 1300 battle value, it's not too terribly armored. I mean, this isn't bad. 5.8 movement, there's a couple bit of roads here and there. Some of these maps. I'm a little worried about the water and the river crossing. All he'll be able to do is fire his Gauss rifle every turn on the river map. Because there's no way in hell it's going to make it across the river in time, I'm pretty sure, before it gets blown out from under it. Okay, so what was the other one? There's 3 of them. Demon, Fury, and the Von. What's that Puma? Assault Tank, which one was it? 005B, 1500, so it's a little bit out of our price range. Got 2 LRM-20s, an ERPPC, ooh, so right side, left side LRM-20, and then a turret mounted ERPPC. So this can reach out and touch something, but it's also a little bit expensive and out of our price range. So we'll go to the Fury next. Which one is it? Fury Command Tank Royal, that's right. Remember, we're clans, we get the good stuff. It's got a Gauss rifle. That's it. It's nothing but a Gauss rifle with wheels, and it's slightly cheaper, so it's about as useful as the Demon that we were looking at, or I'm sorry, the Puma we were just looking at, but it's a little bit cheaper, especially on that river map. I mean, the vehicles are just anything that's not a hovercraft. Even then, it's going to be rough because I don't think you can move up 2 hexes, so hovercraft is even kind of useless on that map. So if it's a vehicle, it kind of needs to stay on its side of the map. What was this Von Luckner? I think it was also the Royal. 2 LBX-10s and a bunch of Streak 2s and an LRM-10. So not terrible. Not great. It's going to be also waiting on the other side of the map. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. We'll look at mechs again. I think we're going to have to settle for a light mech. And I can see why VTOLs are not allowed. Because if they were, they would make some of these missions fairly, how do you say, trivial? Because you just fly over the river with your VTOL. Or fly halfway across the map in one turn with your VTOL. So we're looking for something about 1400-ish that can jump. We definitely don't want to bring anything that cannot make it across that river or cannot make it across the map in a hurry. There's a Black Knight, a little too expensive. Royal Shadowhawk, little B designator. What do we have? What does that do? Are you any good? Royal Shadowhawk. 2 HP, 583. Ugh. No. 2 medium lasers, LV-10X, and 2 streak 2s. I mean, it's not terrible. It's pretty cheap for how much armor it has, but it can only jump 3. So there's a Griffin, which is a little too expensive. This is where it gets tough. Shadowhawk C. Maybe Rifleman C. Okay, maybe we'll take a look at the Rifleman C. Or it's under our price range, $13.35. There's a Marauder C, which is a little too expensive. Locust C. Locust 2C. Ooh, okay, maybe. Horned Owl, which I know has jump and pulse. How far does the Horned Owl jump? .696. Okay, so he falls under the limit. He's got 1, 2, 3 pulse lasers though. Ooh, that might put us over. Let's see, that's 7, 7, 10. It's 24 plus another 7 puts us at 31 plus another 7 puts us over the top. So the Peregrine is out of the question, unfortunately. Whoops. As much as I would like to. Okay, Hellhound Conjurer 7. Oh, a little too expensive. 2C, too expensive. This C3, too expensive. Clint 2C, too expensive. Rifleman 2C, way too expensive. Sure, Goshawk. Green Horned Owl 2. Oh, well. What do we have here? A bunch of LRM5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 LRM5s. 6.9 movement profile. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 tons of ammo. Hang on. Let's do some quick math. And because I'm lazy, we'll do it with the calculator. So we've got 24 times 4. There's 96 turns of LRM5 ammo. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 96 divided by 6. So we have 16 turns of shooting every single LRM5. And we have more than enough. I'm sure heat sinks 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And we jump for 6, so 18 total. Yeah, we can fire and jump every turn and be heat neutral. You know what? It's not hard hitting, you know, super impactful fire support. And they're clan LRMs, so we can get right up and touch someone in their butt and make it hurt with 6 LRM5s. Granted, they don't have Artemis, so you're not guaranteed the 5 damage. You're more than likely going to be doing 3. These are glorified long-range machine guns. But it's dirt cheap at 1100 battle value. It jumps. We can use it to carry elementals. We're going to drop him to a 4-4 because it's just slightly too expensive as it is. And then we can drop our elementals down to 3 4s, or even 3 3s maybe. 4. So we're at 9906. We do need to drop the piloting on the Dragonfly. I think we can drop him to a 3-4. Actually, now that I think about it, we may be doing some DFAing. We may not be, but a 3-4 should be good enough, even if we do have to DFA. So that does leave us with a few hundred points to float around. This is our 6-unit cap. We've got 3 mediums, 1 light, and 2 sets of battle armor. We could drop the battle armor skills. I'm thinking maybe dropping the gunnery on this Peregrine back down to a 3. See if it fits. Yes, it does. 9913. We'd have 1, 2, 3 3-4 pilots, 1 4-4 in the Ryukin, but he's got the targeting computer to make up for it, and then 3-4 elementals. So we can't drop the skill on the elementals, I do believe, because then it'll mess with our force construction. Yeah, where is it? Commander. Designated force commander must not be the lowest battle value in your roster. Instead, it must be the lowest or tied for lowest combination of pilot skills. So yeah, we can't tank the skills on the elementals without also taking the skills on our commander. Which means if we leave it right now, we'll be leaving basically 90 battle value on the table, or 80, 87, whatever it is. If we go 3-3 on 1, yeah, no. And I don't really want to put some elementals as my commander. They also can't be the cheapest, so it'd have to be the laser elementals. Don't really want to do that, so I think we'll leave it as is, which it feels kind of dirty. Maybe we'll see if we can drop this to 4-3. Nope, puts us over the top. Unfortunate. I like a lot. So 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, 4-4, 3-4, 3-4. I think we're just gonna have to eat it. I can't see a way out of this by dropping skills on something, especially not the Stooping Hawk or the Ryukin. I mean, maybe I could drop skills on the Dragonfly, but then that forces the Dragonfly to be my commander, and the same is true of the Peregrine. I think we're going to leave it here as a preliminary list. So everything can jump, which is nice. We have a jump 5, except for the Ryukin, sorry. The Ryukin is going to have to trudge across the field in order to make it across the river on that particular map, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Or it can sit in the back and just blink away with its Gauss rifle, which is not ideal either. But we do have a viable carrier for these elementals as well, so we can choose to stack them on either the Stooping Hawk or the Horned Owl. More than likely, I'm going to stack them on the Horned Owl, because the Horned Owl's a little bit quicker, a little bit cheaper, and I'm planning on making my Stooping Hawk the commander. And since the Stooping Hawk has that AC-10, I can sit back for longer and not have to close the distance with the Stooping Hawk. Granted, I don't have to close the distance with the Peregrine either, but the Peregrine also has 96 armor versus the Stooping Hawk's 172 armor. So there's that. And the Stooping Hawk should be generating a decent TMM with that jump 5. I mean, the Ryukin's only got 182. It's got 10 more armor than the Stooping Hawk. And it doesn't jump. It has to run. So I think we'll call it good here. I think this is a pretty solid list. The Stooping Hawk can tank a little. It can jump. It's got a decent bit of range with those ER mediums and that AC-10. The Ryukin is in the same boat. It can't jump, but it's got decent range. The Dragonfly is for backstabbing and elemental delivery. Peregrine is for poking and elemental delivery. If I find an opening with the Peregrine, I can get it in rear arcs and start unloading with those LRM 5s. It's going to be firing every single LRM, every single turn. So eventually, some of those will hit and some of that damage will start adding up. I mean, 10,000's not terribly a lot to work with for a clan player, but I think this is a solid setup. And of course, we're gonna have to go for a Ghost Bear color. Which is a solid looking one. Standard. We'll go with this one. I like the dark blue. And we're gonna go ahead and save this as Tukkayid Ghost Bear. I have to be specific because we already had Tukkayid Heat. So Tukkayid in the new year, Ghost Bear test 1. Alright, and I'm gonna try this list out, put it through some test games, and see how it goes. And maybe I'll get back to you with my findings before the tournament. If not, then I'll tell you my findings after the tournament. Okay, so Jesty from the future again. This is a Hell's Horses list that I made up with some of those realizations that I had where you don't have to walk off the map. You can just kill your opponent. So I've got just a big ol' honking gun line that's going to slowly move up the field if they feel like it and murder things from very far away, while we have Abysslinks and some cheaper elementals to jump around and scream for the gun to keep those pesky locusts and wolverines and whatever else Senior Sphere is bringing that can close the gap. So first up, let's get into this Stone Rhino. It's quite expensive, and as you can see, because they're so big and chunky, I had to sacrifice on gunnery skills across almost all these units. The Stone Rhino has 2 large pulse lasers and 3 ER large lasers, and a small pulse laser in the head. So it's going to be doing quite a bit of damage. That's 22 of our allotted pulse damage right there. Next up is the Blood Asp D, which will be the commander for this particular unit. Speaking of which, I should probably change the commander color to something. Nope, that's not what I want to do. There we go. Let's do that again. Set individual camo. There we are. You know how to do things sometimes. And change it so that it stands out like that. So the Blood Asp D is kind of a fire support pack. It's got an ER large, 2 heavy mediums, 2 ER larges, because there's another one right there, a Gauss rifle, and 3 UAC-2s. And it's got enough ammo that I can fire the Gauss rifle every round. And if I fire the UAC-2s on single fire, I can fire them every round. But more than likely, I'll start double tapping fairly early on in the match, and then as things get within range, I will hopefully be out of ammo with these and stop using them in favor of the heavy mediums. So it's fairly chunky. I mean, 256 out of 279. Not going to get much more armor than that for a 90 tonner. It's not quick, but it's not slow either. It doesn't jump like the Behemoth does, but it's not so bad. So I think this is an interesting setup. I don't think it's one of the more efficient or dangerous Blood Asps, but for the current setup that we have for this tournament, I think it can perform well because of the way the maps are set up. Let's take a look at the Marauder 2C9, which is next. 4.6 movement profile, 3 ERP PCs with not quite enough heat sinks to clear it all, so you're going to have to cycle some. And then 2 Streak SRM4s. Coming in at 4.5, it's another sniper mech. So I'm going to sit back, slowly move up into little bitty sniper positions, or just sit in a forest. Because, I mean, it's an assault mech, who cares? It should be fine. And there's not much else to say about it. And we have a Abysslinks A, which is 7.11.6, 20 heat sinks total. It's got tag. We don't really have LRMs on this list, so it's kind of a waste. It's got 2 AMSs, 2 machine guns, and a flamer. The reason this is here is because it is dirt cheap, and it's one of the cheapest mechs I could find that's still an Omni mech on the Hell's Horses list. So it should be able to get across the map and deliver its payload of elementals. So that's its job. And there's another set of elementals that are going to be riding on the Blood Asp D and will likely stay on there for a turn or two and then dismount and start jumping around. creeping toward the enemy, slowly but surely. If they're shooting at the elementals, they're not shooting at the majority of your battle value over here, which is what you want. So that's it for this list, which is a completely different take on the objectives here. This is more of a kill them all and hope they die before they score too many objective points, or they can score the objective. And you just win because they're all dead. So let's get rid of that list and let's load up an Inner Sphere list. And I feel like this one is kind of cheating because we'll be taking a Warhammer C2. So this is an Inner Sphere Warhammer chassis with clan weaponry, which is a little dirty if you ask me, using the clan's tricks against them. It's not very heavily armored. It's got 36 heat sinks. It's got 2 clan ERP PCs, so you can fire both of those every turn. And it's got 2 clan medium pulse lasers. All these weapons are clan, so I should probably stop saying clan. 2 ER small lasers, 2 small pulse lasers, and an SRM-6 streak. It's got enough shots that even if you connect every round, it won't run out of ammo. This is a nasty mech. It's fairly expensive for an Inner Sphere mech and an Inner Sphere list. It's only 70 tons, it's not too heavily armored, but you're matching clan range here. And damage. You got 2 head cappers on those 2 ERP PCs. I think this is a cool mech to take, and using the clanners tech against them just adds a little insult to injury. Next up, we have the Centurion CN9-D3. One thing to take a note before I get too deep in the Inner Sphere list here is that the Inner Sphere doesn't need to cross the map. The Inner Sphere player doesn't need to get across the map. They also get access to BSPs. So they have a lot of advantages going for them in this tournament, but their objective is also to kill the clan player most of the time before they accomplish their objective. So there's that. It's got an LB-10X, which would be good for crit sinking, an LRM-10, and a medium laser front facing, and a medium laser rear facing. So this will help out a little against those Dasher H's and or Viper primes and elementals getting in your rear arc and lighting you up. And the LBX and LRM-10 will help you poke from afar. And it can screen for the Warhammer and our other sniper, which is further down on this list. Next up, I've got the Shadowhawk 5M, 5A5 moon profile, 20 heat sinks total, medium laser, ultra AC5, LRM-20, and a streak 2. So more long range support here. The UAC 5 is nice, the LRM-20 is nice. You have enough ammo for the LRM-20 for only 6 shots, so you're going to have to use those wisely and probably early so that you avoid an ammo explosion later on. You do have case in the left torso, but not in that right torso where the LRM-20 ammo is. So, or where the CT is with all that streak 2 ammo. Interesting. I just noticed that. But either way, this is another solid fire support mag 5A5. Move up the field and start plinking away at those clan mechs that are coming your way. Next up is a Wolfhound WLF-2, 6'9" movement profile, 35 tons. Heavier end of the light mech spectrum. You got 20 heat sinks, and you've got enough medium lasers and ER large to basically fire all of them and stay just a little toasty. You can modulate, drop a medium laser every other turn, or just stay heat neutral and drop one every turn while you run up the map. Not bad. Especially coming in at 4.5, just over 1,000 battle value. This is not a terrible mech. Maxed out armor at 119 for a 35 tonner, so it can take a little bit of a hit, but still, just another harasser to start getting in the faces of those clanners, while your 2 snipers sit back and fish for headshots, because we've got the Devastator DVS-2 up next. This is a Federated Suns list, for the record, and it's got 2 Gauss rifles, 2 Inner Sphere PPCs, and 4 medium lasers, with one of them facing rear. And it's got 28 total heat sinks, so you can fire those 2 Gauss rifles every turn. You have enough ammo to do so, and those 2 PPCs every turn. You've got enough heat sinks to do so. And then a couple of medium lasers if anything gets into range. So it's very heat efficient, and it's very deadly from afar. And it's, if I'm not mistaken, just under max armor right there at 296 and a 307. Not missing too much. It's 3.5. It's not going anywhere in a hurry. You need to set it up in a nice little sniper nest and let it do its job. It is 4.5, so it's not going to be hitting as often as the Warhammer C2 at 3.4, but it's still just as deadly with those Gauss rifles to match the Intersphere or the Clan ERPPCs. Next up, we have the Assassin ASN-23 7.11.7. This takes up our Jump 7 slot for this list. As you'll notice in the previous House Horses list, there was not a Jump 7, unfortunately, but it's got a medium pulse laser on the right arm and an LRM-5. So you're good there. You're under par for pulse laser damage, I'm pretty sure, if my math checks out. The LRM-5, you're just going to be poking as you jump around the map, probably not getting into rear arcs. You'll likely be chasing around either elementals, staying out of their threat range as best as possible, or jumping around chasing a dasher, or maybe a Viper, or something like that. Granted, the Viper will kill you if you're in the Assassin with only 72 armor, but you're going to be able to jump for 7 and stay mostly at its close range weapons range and poke it with your LRM-5. So there's a lot of poke for these clan mechs because most of them are going to be having to get to you, so you can get better range brackets on them as they close the distance. And you don't have to do as much moving as they do. So this is just a quick gander at what an Intersphere list could look like. You'll notice I have no vehicles and no infantry in this list, just because I think mechs are the way to go. You need to outnumber these clan players, which are going to be bringing at most 4 mechs or vehicles, and probably some battle armor to fill out the BV, and just outnumber them and focus fire down 1 mech at a time. So this is my take on an Intersphere list, and I'm going to leave it at that. Jesty from the future, out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, or if you hate watching me build lists, let me know, either in Discord or on YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Good night.